George is from the videos I've seen, his sons were hauling some round bale hay and on a trailer behind a tractor, got pulled over, got accused of purposely holding up traffic, of which they weren't, but they're using anything they can to get at George. And from there they impounded his equipment, and it cost him a fairly large sum of money to get it back out of Hawk. And that was about a year and a half ago, and they're still fighting this mine ticket. And George has been looking for a way to not get around the system, but to show how bad the system is and that it doesn't work. And it is not a system that is judicial to the people as it's supposed to be. It is justice for the owners, so to speak, of which George has been fighting. And so he's been beaten up a couple of times by the police. He was beaten up once in court. George is in his early 60s, I'm going to say. Each time they beat him up, he was, I think, charged for assault. Could be wrong on that, but he did pick up some extra charges. So he looked into the free man thing and went to Black's Dictionary and all that kind of stuff, and in the court refused to recognize his corporate name, the all-cap name, which threw the court into a bit of a tizzy. And they threw George in jail for 5 days. They were going to force him to take a psychiatric examination. There's nothing wrong with George psychologically. He's a very solid man. But you know how it works: intimidation.
Sure.
Try to break the man. And more importantly, intimidating the singular person is to get the regular population to look at this person as an oddity, not a person as is fighting for your and my freedoms, but as an oddity to be avoided at all costs. And that's part of their game that they're playing with him here. And of course, down there is the same as up here. There's no way you're going to get any mainstream media involved in this. So, we're going to have a protest tomorrow morning, I guess, at the courthouse. There's people coming in from all over. The bullhorns will be there. The video cameras will be there. So we'll be putting up some video hopefully in the next couple of days. And, it's the same thing. A lot of people think Canada is different than the United States. We're all caught up in the same UN web nonsensical crush the Western world game that's being played right now.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Beat them into submission, or sometimes even take them out. Isn't that right, Griff?
Yes, that's right. Let me put my statement in the form of a question for the radio.
Sure.
What would happen if you would go after the police chief and go after the judge? ?
Well, that's what they're doing.
I put my statement in
to do it in an offhanded way. Isn't that what they're doing in Mexico now? Mayor shot, police chief shot. It's all about destabilization. I've always been a firm believer. I was talking to George's wife and a few of the other folks, and I've always been a firm believer that he who blinks first loses. The shenanigans have been going on in this courthouse. The court has blinked. The judge has blinked, even though George is sitting in jail right now. The outrageousness of what's been going on in the court clearly indicates not justice being served, but a judge and a court and a police force running amok. And so George has not blinked. George has held his ground, and he's sitting in jail right now because of it. But I do believe that if we can get George out here tomorrow, that taken to another court, the other court would have no opportunity but to throw everything out, at which point then you can go after the judge and the police force.
It's very interesting, and I've heard it too. This isn't the only case of this that I've heard. There's been similar cases in the United States where the local municipalities will take that kooky person, quote unquote, and they'll get him for, let's just say, a stupid charge like, I don't know, making terroristic threats or stuff like that, a spat with a neighbor, and all of a sudden it turns into you're a damn terrorist.
I smell a quick shot at John there, huh?
But you see all the time. It's not. This is nothing new. But the thing that I have, the question that I have is, since we know that justice isn't for the common man, then what do we do as individuals, as common men and women, to get that justice? Are we just going to sit on our hands and let it go, or are we going to do what we have to do to make sure that this happens? See, personally, I think that what is going to happen is things are going to have to go kaplooey, and then we're going to have to do what we have to do. I don't think that we have I don't think that there's enough interest to be able to change things at this point. Things is just going to have to come down to just crash, just get demolished, and then we pick up the pieces afterwards. At least that's my take on things. What about you, Griff? What do you think?
Well, I was just thinking that we're forbidden to talk about exactly what we all know we have to do. We're forbidden to talk about it right now, for fear of retaliation and punishment by the very people that are doing it, you see. You'll never get anywhere if you try to operate within the legal system, because there is no justice in the legal system anymore. And the problem is the legal system, the judges and the police, and the management thereof, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. Hey, Ron, you got anything else to add before we move on?
Well, I was kind of hoping that John Gorman or Kay or Barb or some of these people would have phoned in, sent the thing out to them. You didn't get any calls in?
No, not from there.
Well,
not from there.
Because I know they're working a lot of paperwork and stuff tonight.
Sure.
Trying to get ready for tomorrow. Just let me put a quick link in here.
Put it in the chat room, but also say it over the air so that people listening to the archive.
I put up a different video, but this is a video from John Gorman, who's on the other side of the country right now, just explaining a little bit about what's going on at the courthouse. But to your listeners, and it's difficult because, since 1945, with the implementation of the UN, whose sole goal is to destroy the Western world and bring us all under a fascist communist state kind of thing, it's tough. It's really tough. 35 years ago, I told people that this day was coming, and nobody wanted to listen. The last 4 years been absolutely busting my hump here to try to educate people, as are a lot of other people. The problem is that the churches, if you go to a mainstream church, the mainstream churches are UN run now. Okay, they're teaching the Earth Charter and pushing Al Gore and global warming, all this kind of stuff. The school system has been, when I left school in the 70s, just when the UN, UNESCO was getting a hold of the system, and they've been a hold of our school system ever since. Our police forces, our courthouses, our justice system has been so taken over the years by this web that comes from the United Nations. Our medical system, I mean, all these vaccines, the fluorides, all this shit is from the UN, and it's incumbent upon every American, every Canadian to just stand up and say, bloody no, we're not going there. As Griff said when he was talking about the breakdown, that if we don't figure out how to stop it somehow, is going to come with a nasty hit. And when he's talking millions of people dying, I mean, the own UN documents in that, and Agenda 21 and whatnot. I mean, the numbers they're talking about for the United States, which has, 320 million people now?
Something like that, yeah.
They want a final population there of 100 million people. Because they figure 100 million people in the United States is in balance with nature, which is in balance with nature. So, I don't want to see this get to the point where it implodes. I don't know. I'm scratching my head trying to figure out how. I just ran in as mayor up here, and the night of the election, I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning fielding phone calls from people from other electoral areas going, what the hell just took place there? And I said, we just had a Florida vote here, is what we had.
Now, do you guys have the electronic voting machines there too?
Well, I ran
paper ballot.
I ran for mayor here, in which they had we had a paper ballot mail-in, no less, of which all these ballots ended up in the hands of the CAOs and that of the municipalities and their people. And then they had a machine counting them, and then the machines apparently went down. And lo and behold, a little town like ours of 12,000 people, or that's the whole municipality, when they started asking questions about what was going on with the vote count, we had a few mechanical or electronic problems here. And isn't it amazing? We just happened to have one of the experts on site at the time. Oh, yeah, right. That's just a real coincidence, right? And we had other that was internet voting and whatnot, and the internet was busting up. I had one guy call me. He goes, "What the hell's going on?" He says, "The first run of votes came through here. I was on the top, and now I'm at the bottom." And I said, "Because you don't fit their slot." We went through each of these municipalities. They put exactly who they wanted in place, exactly. So, as George Carlin would say, and one of his quotes is just absolutely true, is that most people will remain willfully ignorant. And that is what will bring us down eventually, is ignorance.
That's true, Ron. You know what, Ron? Hey, do me a favor. Stay tuned through the break. Stay on the line, because when we come back, I got a caller that wants to ask you a question, and we got
okay, I'll hang for a bit. Okay.
In a world where corrupt oppressors and oligarchs have seized control of the populations, total tyranny is amongst us. The burden of humanity rests on our shoulders. The only way out is to expose the global crime syndicate known as the New World Order. Together, we are all one. Together, we are Intel soldiers. The battle for free humanity ensues. Join us in the fight. TheIntelHub.com.
Hi, this is Bob Tuskin. Tune into my show, Truth Be Told Radio, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Join me, Joe Joseph, and my co-hosts, John King and A.C. Griffith, Thursdays and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Freedomlink Radio's Bridging the Gap on the Intel Hub Radio Network.
Did you ever wish that you could have done something while you still had the chance? What will you do if your income ends tomorrow? Or if you lose your home, as many already have? Do you have enough money to survive through an economic depression? If you don't want to gamble with your future, then FreeToProsper.com can help you quickly end your debt problems, protect your property and possessions, and develop a personal strategy to get you through the hard times. Most importantly, you get to keep your money and not pay another cent